So last night I had a chance to check out the first 2 episodes of Ahsoka, the recent Star Wars miniseries from Lucasfilm. Rosario Dawson reprises the role of Ahsoka Tano from her appearance in The Mandalorian and Book of Boba Fett, where she's taking on an emerging threat that's springing up post-Return of the Jedi in an effort to find Grand Admiral Thrawn, reuniting some former allies along the way. Other than the basic information on Ahsoka Tano, where she was an apprentice of Anakin, I don't really know much about her outside of what I've seen in the shows. Well, the live-action shows at least. I still have yet to watch Clone Wars, and I'm almost done with Rebels Season 1. I am really slow with these TV shows, guys. I apologize. But even so, I think I've gotten a good enough sense of what this character is all about. And seeing some of the familiar faces that have popped up like Hera and Sabine, having seen some of Rebels does add it for me. But I think the show gives us just enough at this point anyway. An idea of what these characters are all about and what their motives are. Sabine is still feeling some regret over what happened with Ezra since he's disappeared. Ahsoka is dealing with some regret of her own. And I guess maybe in a way still mourning what happened with Anakin. I know she and him had some meet up in the animated form, similar to what we saw in the Kenobi series last year. And something that I caught on to with Rosario Dawson's portrayal here, she's very subdued and controlled. Doesn't really wear her emotions on her sleeve, but I think there's just enough there where it's pretty clear that she's got all these feelings deep down, using her Jedi training to control her emotions. Thankfully not in the way where I feel like I can't connect with her as a person. Or as a character, anyway, since she's not really a human. I don't know what her species is exactly, but anyone who's familiar with the extended lore, they'll be able to tell me. Politely, please. This evil magistrate that we saw in Season 2 of Mandalorian when Ahsoka showed up, she's broken out at present by Ray Stevenson's character, who unfortunately has passed away, and the first episode gives a dedication to him, which I thought was really respectful. And I also recognized him as Volstagg from the MCU, First Thor, Dark World, and Ragnarok. I knew that guy looked familiar somehow, but until I looked up his IMDb, I couldn't place where I saw him. His character apparently survived Order 66 and has been hiding for many years, and is helping the magistrate locate the trail of where Admiral Thrawn might be hiding. Anyone who's into the expanded universe lore, the ones that before the sequel trilogy was announced, you all know who that is. And I like that they're bringing some of that stuff into the new continuity. They kind of did that with Kylo Ren, but I think it was more of a mishmash of the different children of the Skywalker family. His name was Ben. Ben Skywalker was Luke's son in the expanded universe. It was kind of a reimagining of Jason Solo and Ben Skywalker. And I guess maybe in a way Rey was kind of like the Jaina Solo, even though she wasn't related to the Skywalkers. By blood anyway. But I do like how they're tying in the stuff from the previous continuity. I mean, obviously they can't do it verbatim, but they are picking and choosing what they could fit. The show's brought to us by Dave Filoni, who has had a big creative hand in the Rebels show and the Clone Wars. And he's a big fan of Star Wars, just like Jon Favreau. His fingerprints are all over this thing. Visual, writing, character design, you name it. And I really like how he's honoring the sequel trilogy and what's going to lead up to it by showing just how fragile the state of affairs are. Like when they go to investigate that shipyard, and that one character who was actually Taub in the House TV show, he's a businessman first and foremost and doesn't really care about people's loyalty. But unfortunately, that's what comes back to bite him in the you-know-what. Many of his subordinates are still loyal to the Empire.
Some loyalty.
If Season 3 of Mandalorian is any indication, it is abundantly clear there is no retcon happening. If there's any YouTubers out there who tell you otherwise, don't believe a word of that. Then we have a character who, for all intents and purposes, might be an Inquisitor. That lightsaber design is a dead giveaway. I remember that from Jedi Fallen Order. They even mentioned Dathomir, which is also in Jedi Fallen Order. Could they possibly bring in Cal Kestis if they wanted? Wishful thinking, I know. But a lot of people are theorizing who that Inquisitor could be. Some are assuming that it could be Ezra. And you know what? I would not be shocked if that were the case. If they come out and say, no, it's actually somebody else, it doesn't really matter what decision they make on that front, because the fandom is going to explode regardless. In the case of it being Ezra, we know that he disappeared and that he sacrificed himself, but as far as we know, we don't see that. So there's a lot of stuff that they could do in order to say, no, actually this happened and this happened. Kind of like what they did with a certain character in Jedi Fallen Order. More than likely, Screen Crush and New Rockstars will give you a full in-depth analysis of how exactly this is all connected. But if it is Ezra, I'm not going to be shocked. I just want to see if they can find a good reason for doing so. But I also really like how Sabine feels ready at a certain point that she wants to become a Jedi again, even though she is a Mandalorian at heart. She still feels that she was abandoned by Ahsoka. And Ahsoka is still feeling some regret and disappointment over leaving her behind. And then when she tells Hera that, no, you actually know, and then your apprentice will know when it's the time to train. And when Sabine cuts her hair back to the way it was in the Rebels show, well, more or less, giving Ahsoka the hope she needs, especially in the case of this mission that she's on. She's gonna need some. Probably gonna be here all night if I go further in depth with all this stuff. Plus, I don't have a huge amount of knowledge on the expanded universe stuff. As opposed to the Last of Us TV show, I had a lot to say about each episode. And mind you, these are first impressions. My stance on it so far? it's not too bad. The quality from the live-action Star Wars shows since 2019 have been very up and down, but each one has had a lot of promise, and this one as of right now does have some. Gonna wait and see what the rest of the show has to offer. Those are my first impressions on Ahsoka. Thank you guys so much for watching. Comment below and tell me what your thoughts are, and as always, see you in the next one.